All right, let's dive deep today. We're focusing on getting you prepped for an investment clerk interview.
That's right.
So we've got some fantastic resources from RoleCatcher, like their Investment Clerk Career Guide, their Interview Guide,
Yes.
and this just amazing database of potential interview questions. Think of this deep dive as your secret weapon to help you nail that interview and land that job.
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool? RoleCatcher's got some AI-powered tools that can help tailor your answers to the specific job and even give you feedback.
Yeah.
Talk about a game changer.
All right, so let's imagine you're in that interview.
Okay.
Your palms are sweaty, your heart's racing. The hiring manager fires off that first question. Can you describe your experience with investment management software? Now, before you panic, let's break down why this question is a staple in an investment clerk interview.
You know what's fascinating to me? It's not just about listing off a bunch of software names that you've heard.
Right.
They're really trying to see if you are comfortable with those tech tools, because they're really the foundation of modern finance. Can you actually use these tools? Or have you just heard of them?
So how do you turn what can be kind of an intimidating question into a chance to really shine?
Well, I think instead of just listing software, talk about specific projects where you've actually utilized them.
Oh, I like that.
Like, for example, you could say, in my previous role, I used XYZ software to generate these portfolio performance reports for our clients.
Right.
And this made sure they had a clear understanding of how their investments were doing.
Ooh, action words, not buzzwords.
Exactly.
But what if you're, fresh out of school?
Right.
Maybe you don't have a ton of hands-on experience yet.
Well, in that case, you want to really highlight your, that eagerness to learn and your ability to adapt. You can even say, my experience with specific investment management software is limited, but I'm a really quick learner.
Yeah.
And I've actually taken a bunch of courses on financial modeling and data analysis. You can even mention any personal projects or simulations you've done to show you're really taking initiative.
That proactive learning mindset. I love that.
Exactly.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI can really come in handy. It can analyze the software mentioned in the job description and suggest ways to tweak your answer to highlight the skills they're looking for.
It's like having your own personal prep guide for each interview.
Right.
Okay, so now let's say the interviewer follows up and says, what specific features in the software did you find the most useful in your work, and why?
Okay, now it's getting really specific.
Yeah.
How do you answer that?
Well, here you really want to demonstrate that you understand how the software features connect to real tasks, to outcomes.
Okay.
You could say something like, I found the portfolio optimization module particularly helpful because it allowed me to, analyze different asset allocations and recommend strategies to kind of minimize the risk and maximize returns for my clients.
So you're not just talking about the software in isolation. You're connecting it to the bigger picture.
That's it.
Right.
You're showing them you understand how the tools fit into the overall process, how they contribute to, achieving those investment goals.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to another question that often pops up in investment clerk interviews.
Okay.
How do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes?
This is where they're really trying to see if you are just a passive observer or a proactive learner.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. The financial landscape changes so quickly.
Right.
And interviewers want to see that you're genuinely interested in the field, that you're committed to constantly learning.
Okay. So how do you answer this one in a way that truly impresses?
Well, instead of just saying, I read industry publications, be specific, right?
Okay.
Mention publications, specific websites, or even influential people that you follow. Like you could say, I regularly read the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg. I follow industry experts on social media to get their insights.
Right.
Name them
to
see what they have to say about new technologies and investment strategies.
That's much more compelling.
Exactly.
Okay, what if they dig a little deeper? What if they say, can you give me a specific example of a recent industry trend that you've been following and how it might impact your work as an investment clerk?
Here's your time to showcase those analytical skills.
Right.
Show that you're not just passively taking in information, but that you're thinking about it critically.
Yeah.
You could discuss a trend like the rise of ESG investing.
Oh, yeah.
Or, how AI is increasingly being used in financial analysis.
Right.
Explain how these trends are shaping the industry, how they might influence your tasks.
Okay.
Day to day.
Right.
As an investment clerk.
That's brilliant. You're showing them you're not just keeping up with the headlines, but you're thinking about how it actually impacts your job.
That's it.
Okay. Speaking of keeping up with the times, let's talk about technology. The career guide really emphasizes this growing importance of technology in investment management, right?
Oh, absolutely. Technology is completely transforming how we manage money and invest. Investment clerks need to be super comfortable navigating that digital world.
Right. So what if the interviewer throws this curveball at you? Can you describe a time when you had to learn a new technology or software quickly to complete a task or project?
Well, this is where they're assessing your adaptability, your willingness to embrace these new tools and tech. So think of a specific example where you had to learn on the fly.
Yeah, okay.
And it doesn't even have to be about finance.
Right, okay.
It could be mastering a new design software.
Yeah?
Nail a presentation.
Oh, okay.
Or learning a new coding language.
Right.
For a personal project.
Right, okay.
But the key is you need to highlight your ability to learn fast and to apply that knowledge. So describe the situation, how you learned the technology, and the positive outcome that you achieved.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI tools can be super helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Because it can analyze the technologies mentioned in the job description and give you ways to tailor your answer to highlight those skills. Plus, you can practice your answers and get feedback, which is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to a question that is all about your communication skills.
Okay.
This one. Can you describe a time when you had to explain a complex investment concept to someone who wasn't familiar with finance?
Ooh, yeah, that's a classic.
Right.
I mean, finance is full of, all this jargon and concepts that can be pretty intimidating to people outside of the field.
So how do you choose the right example to nail this question?
Think of a time you had to explain something really complicated to someone who didn't have a financial background.
Yeah.
Like maybe you helped a friend understand their 401k options.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you explained like a stock market concept to a family member.
Right.
The point is, you need to focus on how you adapted your language and approach to make it clear.
So you're not getting bogged down in the details. You're focusing on the communication.
Exactly. And always remember to mention that positive outcome.
Okay.
Did they feel informed after your explanation?
Yeah.
Did they get it?
Yeah. Right.
That's what's important.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you're showing your ability to communicate effectively and build trust with people who may not be as financially savvy.
Exactly.
Okay. What if the interviewer wants more? What if they say, what specific techniques or strategies did you use to ensure that the person understood the concept?
All right, well, now's the time to describe specific techniques. Like, did you use analogies?
Oh, okay.
Visual aids? Real-life examples?
Okay.
Like, for example, you could say, I explained the concept of diversification by comparing it to a grocery basket.
Right.
Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you want to spread your investments across different asset classes.
I like that analogy.
Right.
Very relatable.
Exactly. It's easy to understand. You're showing them you can think creatively.
Yeah.
Find ways to make complex stuff easy to understand for a wider audience.
Okay, now let's shift gears and talk about a topic that is absolutely crucial in finance, and that's ethics.
Oh, yeah.
And compliance.
Very important.
The career guide really emphasizes the importance of ethical conduct, and for good reason.
Right.
The financial world is heavily regulated, and investment clerks need to be aware of those rules and regulations.
Absolutely. And interviewers really want to make sure you understand following the rules, doing things by the book. They need to know you have a strong moral compass, that you can be trusted.
Okay.
With sensitive information.
So what if the interviewer throws you this curveball?
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you face an ethical dilemma at work or in a volunteer role and how you handled it?
Ooh, that one might feel a little intense.
Yeah.
But you can use this opportunity to showcase your integrity and your commitment to ethical behavior.
Okay, so how do you pick the right example for a question like this?
Well, think of a time when you had to make a really tough decision based on your values.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like super dramatic.
Okay.
Even small examples can be impactful, if it shows you're committed to doing the right thing. Maybe you saw a coworker cutting corners.
Oh, right.
And had to decide what to do. Or maybe you had to choose between loyalty to a friend and, what was best for the company.
Right.
Tough choices.
So the key is to choose an example that highlights that ethical decision-making process.
Exactly.
Even if the situation was, relatively minor.
Exactly. Walk them through the steps you took to analyze the situation consider the consequences, and how you made a decision that aligned with what you believe.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can help.
Absolutely.
It can analyze the company's values and suggest ways to tailor your answer to align with their ethical standards, right?
Right. And it can also give you feedback on your delivery, which is super important when you're talking about ethics. You need to project confidence and sincerity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say the interviewer says, what was the most challenging aspect of that situation, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, okay. Now they're really digging deep.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where you show them that you can have those difficult conversations.
Right.
That you can navigate, ethically complex situations, and that you stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Did you have to confront a colleague?
Yeah.
Report the issue to a supervisor?
All right.
Describe the challenges, how you address them, but while staying true to your ethical principles.
That's powerful. You're demonstrating you're not afraid to do the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about a question that really showcases your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
This one. Can you describe a time when you faced a challenging situation at work and how you resolved it?
This is a classic question for a reason. Interviewers really want to see that you can think critically, analyze information, and find those effective solutions.
So how do you pick the perfect example to showcase those problem-solving skills?
Look for a situation where you had to figure out the root cause of a problem.
Yeah.
Gather information, evaluate your options, and then put a solution in place.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a big dramatic crisis,
Oh, okay.
Even a small problem can really demonstrate those skills
Okay.
if you approach it systematically.
So it could be something as simple as like a report's not generating correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Or there's a bottleneck in the workflow.
Yeah,
Something like that.
exactly. And the point is to walk them through your thought process step by step.
Okay.
How did you approach the problem?
Yep.
What resources did you use?
Right.
What were the potential consequences if you didn't act?
So you're not just talking about the solution itself, you're highlighting that thought process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't forget to mention the good stuff, the positive outcome.
Right.
Did it make things more efficient?
Yeah.
Save the company money?
Right.
Enhance customer satisfaction?
Ooh, I like that.
These are all good things to bring up.
You're not just identifying a problem, you're a problem solver.
Exactly. You're showing them you can make a difference.
Right. Now, what if the interviewer says, what did you learn from that experience, and how has it influenced your approach to problem solving?
Well, this is where you really show you're a continuous learner, always trying to improve your skills,
Right.
Did you identify anything you could have done better?
Oh, okay.
Develop new strategies,
Okay.
for approaching similar problems.
So you're demonstrating that you can analyze your own performance
Exactly.
and identify those growth areas.
Yeah, you're showcasing your self-awareness and that commitment to always doing better. And this, honestly, is highly valued in any job.
And before we move on to the next question, I just want to really emphasize how valuable RoleCatcher's AI tools can be, especially for these behavioral questions.
Absolutely.
Because it can analyze the job description and the company's values and suggest specific examples that would really resonate with the interviewer.
It's like having a personalized interview coach right there in your pocket.
Right. And it can give you feedback on your delivery, which is so important when you're trying to make a strong impression.
It really is.
So let's talk about another classic interview question.
Right.
Can you describe a time when you had to work under pressure to meet a deadline?
That's a big one. The financial world is fast-paced,
Yeah.
demanding, and interviewers want to know you can handle the heat
Right.
and deliver even when the pressure's on.
Okay, so how do you choose the right example to really shine here?
Look for a situation where you had to juggle a lot of different priorities
Okay.
and, manage competing demands. And you had to stay on top of your game even when things got crazy. It doesn't have to be, like a major crisis.
Oh, okay.
But even a simple project can show them you can handle pressure
Right.
if you approach it with the right mindset.
Okay, so maybe it's like prepping a complex report for a client meeting
Right, exactly.
or, organizing a large event with a tight deadline, something like that.
Exactly. The important thing is you need to walk the interviewer through how you managed it.
Yeah.
How did you prioritize those tasks? How did you communicate with your team? What strategies did you use to stay organized?
So you're not just describing the situation, you're showing them how you manage that stress And prioritize effectively.
Precisely. And always remember to mention the positive outcome. Did you meet that deadline?
Yeah.
Did you go above and beyond?
Right.
Did you get positive feedback?
Ooh, that's good. So you're not just a deadline meter, you're a high performer.
Exactly.
Who thrives in this fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if the interviewer follows up? What if they say, what was the biggest challenge you faced in that situation, and how did you overcome it?
This is where you really want to show off those problem-solving skills, and your ability to adapt to, curveballs.
Right.
Did you have a last-minute change in the requirements?
Yeah.
Did you face a technical glitch or a communication breakdown?
Yeah.
You need to describe the obstacle and what you did to get over it.
So you're showing them that you are resourceful.
Yes.
And you can think on your feet.
Exactly. You're showing them you're resilient.
Okay.
That you can turn a potential crisis into a win.
And before we move on, I just want to remind everyone listening that RoleCatcher's AI tools can be incredibly helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for these behavioral questions. Because it can analyze the job description, company's values, suggest examples that would resonate.
Yeah.
And then give you feedback on your delivery, which is super important.
It's like having a personalized interview coach.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about a question that is really all about accuracy and attention to detail.
Yeah.
How do you ensure accuracy and attention to detail in your work?
That's a big one.
The career guide stresses this, and for good reason. Even tiny errors can have huge consequences, right?
Oh, absolutely. Investment clerks are handling sensitive financial info.
Mm-hmm.
Any mistakes can lead to, costly errors, even legal issues.
Yeah.
So they want to see that you're meticulous and organized, that you have a good eye for detail.
Okay, so how do you really knock their socks off with this question?
Instead of just saying, I'm detail-oriented.
Right.
Describe specific techniques like, do you double-check your work?
Okay.
Do you make checklists?
Yeah.
Use spreadsheets to organize everything.
Okay, so you're showcasing those habits.
Yeah.
You have a system.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to share a time you caught an error.
Right.
Even a small one, because that shows them you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
You take pride in doing things right.
So you're not just saying it, you're showing it.
Exactly. And, it's not just about the techniques either.
Mm-hmm.
Connect your approach to accuracy with your values. Do you believe in doing things right the first time?
Right.
Do you take pride in your work?
Yeah.
They need to see that accuracy isn't just a skill, it's part of who you are.
Yeah. Right. It's more than a box to check on a resume.
Exactly. It's core to what you do.
It guides your work.
Yeah. So now let's say they follow up and say, can you give me a specific example of when you had to pay close attention to detail to, avoid a mistake or a problem?
Okay, now they're putting your attention to detail to the test.
Right. So here's your chance to show that you can identify those potential issues.
Right.
That you can analyze information, take proactive steps to prevent those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So choose an example where you had to be extra careful. Maybe you were reviewing, a complicated financial document or processing a huge transaction.
Right, so you're not just being careful, you're proactively mitigating risk.
Exactly. And you always want to highlight the positive outcome, right? Did you prevent a financial loss?
Right.
Did you ensure compliance with all the regulations?
Mm-hmm.
Did you earn a client's trust? These are all good things to talk about.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about working independently.
All right.
What if they ask, can you describe a time when you had to take initiative and work independently to complete a task or project?
Ooh, great question. This is your time to shine, to demonstrate your self-motivation.
Yeah.
That you can manage your time effectively
Mm-hmm.
and that you're willing to go that extra mile.
Okay, how do you pick the right example for this one?
Look for a situation where you took charge.
Okay.
Set your own goals and deadlines.
Yeah.
And you worked solo to achieve success.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't have to be some big project,
Right.
Even a small task can show that you can work independently.
Right.
If you have the right mindset.
So maybe you, took the lead on researching a new investment strategy.
Right, exactly.
Or you developed a new spreadsheet to improve efficiency. Something like that.
Exactly. Highlight that proactive nature, that ability to manage your own time, and that you're willing to take ownership.
Okay.
Describe the situation, the steps you took, and that positive outcome.
Right. And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be so helpful.
Right. Yeah.
It can analyze the job description and pull up those specific examples that would really resonate.
Absolutely. And it can also give you feedback on your delivery, which is so important when you're showcasing your independence and your initiative.
Absolutely. Okay, what if the interviewer wants a little more? What if they say, what were some of the challenges you faced working independently on that project, and how did you overcome them?
Now they're digging into how you handle those challenges, and how you stay motivated when you're working solo.
Right.
Did you have any technical
Uh-huh.
issues, roadblocks, setbacks?
Yeah.
You need to show them that you're not just independent,
Okay.
but you're also resilient and resourceful.
Right.
And by highlighting the positive aspects of working solo, like the satisfaction of finishing a project on your own,
Right.
the chance to learn new things, you're showing them you're a self-starter.
Okay.
You thrive in an environment that encourages autonomy.
Okay, now let's talk about teamwork.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you worked effectively as part of a team to achieve a common goal?
Classic question. Employers always want team players.
Yeah.
And this question shows them you can collaborate effectively, communicate clearly,
Yeah.
contribute to that shared success.
Okay, how do you choose the right example?
Look for a situation where you are part of a team working towards a specific goal. It could be a work project,
Right.
a volunteer activity, a group project in school.
Right.
The key is to highlight your contributions to the team and how you worked well with your teammates.
So you're not just describing the project, you're highlighting your role within the team.
Exactly. And don't be shy about sharing specific examples. How did you collaborate? Okay.
How did you communicate?
Right.
How did you handle any disagreements?
Okay, that makes sense. You're showing them that you're an active and engaged team member.
Exactly. And don't forget to mention the positive outcome, right? Did you meet those goals?
Yeah.
Exceed expectations?
Yeah.
Did you get any positive feedback?
Oh, yeah. So you're not just a team player. You're a valuable asset.
Exactly.
Right.
You can help the team succeed.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say they say, what was your biggest contribution to that team's success?
Right.
And what did you learn from that experience?
Oh, okay.
Now's the time to highlight your unique skills.
Right.
Did you have any special knowledge, expertise?
Yeah.
Did you help with communication?
Okay.
Or resolve conflicts?
Sure. So you're explaining why your contribution was valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by sharing what you learned, you're showing them that you're not just focused on the task at hand,
Right.
but that you're thinking about how you can grow as a team player.
Okay. Let's talk about adapting to change. All right.
What if they ask, can you describe a time when you had to adapt to a change in plans or priorities at work?
This question is all about showing them how you handle change, how you adjust, and stay productive even when things don't go according to plan.
So how do you choose a good example for this one?
Think of a time when you had to deal with, a sudden change, a shift in priorities, or something unexpected happen.
Okay.
Could be a last-minute deadline, a big company change.
Right.
But the important thing is to highlight your ability to, just roll with it.
Yeah.
To adjust your approach, stay focused.
Right. So you're showing them that you can stay productive even when things are a little chaotic.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to share specific examples of how you adapted, how you communicated, how you said positive.
Right. So you're not just adaptable, you're resilient.
Exactly.
And resourceful.
Yeah. And don't forget to mention the positive outcome, right? Were you able to adapt successfully?
Right.
Did you exceed expectations despite the challenges? Did you get any positive feedback?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So you're not just someone who can handle change, you thrive in it.
Exactly.
You like that fast-paced environment.
I do. So let's say they follow up and say, what was the most challenging aspect of adapting to that change and how did you overcome it?
Oh, okay.
This is where you highlight those problem-solving skills again. Did you have to pick up new skills?
Right.
Learn new processes quickly?
Yeah.
Did you have to manage a bunch of different deadlines?
Okay.
Describe the obstacle and how you got past it.
So you're not just adaptable, but you're also very determined to find those solutions.
Yeah. And by highlighting those positive aspects of, adapting to change, you're showing them you're growth-minded. You like those new experiences.
Yeah.
You thrive in that dynamic environment.
Okay, and before we move on to the next question, I just want to take a moment to highlight the incredible power of RoleCatcher's AI. Because throughout this whole deep dive, we've talked about how it can analyze job descriptions, suggest examples, even help you with your delivery. It's like having a personal interview coach right there with you.
It really is.
And the best part, a lot of these features are free.
They are.
So why not give RoleCatcher a try and see how it can help you prepare for your investment clerk interview?
Exactly.
We'll be back soon with even more tips and strategies to help you ace that interview and land your dream job.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive on acing that investment clerk interview.
Yeah, we're still knee-deep in interview prep, using these fantastic resources from RoleCatcher
Yes,
to help you stand out from the crowd.
that's right.
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze specific jobs, even companies, and suggest ways to make your answers even stronger.
It's like having a personalized interview strategy session powered by AI.
Right, exactly.
But for now, let's get back to those tricky interview questions.
Okay, here's one that can really make your palms sweat. Give me an example of a time you had to work under pressure to meet a deadline.
Oh, yeah.
I can practically feel the tension in the room.
It's a pressure cooker question for sure, but
Yeah.
it's not about like showcasing some, dramatic, nail-biting story. The interviewer's trying to gauge how you handle stress, how you prioritize, how you stay focused when time is running out.
Okay, so what kind of example should you choose? Should it be like the most stressful situation you've ever faced?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The key is to pick a situation that's relevant to the investment clerk role, one that highlights those skills they're looking for.
Okay.
So think about times you had to juggle multiple tasks, prioritize effectively, think outside the box to find solutions.
So it could be anything from like pulling an all-nighter to finish a complex report
Yeah,
to like rallying your team to meet a sudden client demand.
exactly. The
Got it.
key is to structure your answer effectively.
Right.
Start by setting the scene. What was the deadline? What were the stakes? Then walk them through the steps you took to manage that pressure. Did you break down the task into smaller chunks? Did you delegate responsibilities? Did you communicate effectively with your team or your stakeholders?
Yeah, it's like you're painting a picture for them, showing them how you operate under pressure.
Right. And finally, don't forget to highlight that positive outcome.
Okay.
Did you meet the deadline? Did you exceed expectations? What did you learn from the experience?
Okay, so it's like a mini case study showcasing your problem-solving skills and that you can thrive under pressure.
Exactly.
But what if things didn't go perfectly? Should you avoid talking about, failures or setbacks?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Everyone makes mistakes, and interviewers actually appreciate honesty and self-awareness.
Yeah.
If you choose to share an example where things didn't go exactly as planned, focus on what you learned from it
Cool.
and how you've improved your approach since then.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
So even a failure can be a learning opportunity. Now, another tricky question that often comes up, can you describe a time when you had to resolve a conflict with a colleague or a client?
Ah, yes, the dreaded conflict question. Remember, conflict is a natural part of any workplace,
Yeah.
especially in a fast-paced field like finance.
Right.
What they're really looking for is how you handle disagreements constructively and professionally.
So what's the best approach? Should you pretend you've never had a disagreement with anyone?
I mean, honesty is always the best policy.
Okay.
Choose an example that highlights your communication skills, your ability to empathize with others, and your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Maybe you had a colleague who wasn't pulling their weight on a project, or perhaps you had to deal with a client who was unhappy with a service.
Okay, so kind of set the scene, describe your actions, highlight the positive outcome.
Exactly, just like with the pressure question.
Right, but conflict resolution can be messy.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
What if you didn't handle the situation perfectly?
That's okay.
Yeah.
As with any behavioral question, the interviewer is less interested in the specific details of the situation and more interested in your thought process and your ability to learn and grow.
Right.
If you made mistakes in handling the conflict, acknowledge them
Okay.
and explain what you learned from the experience.
So it's all about demonstrating that you're a team player who can navigate challenging situations with grace and professionalism.
Exactly.
But wouldn't it be helpful to have a second opinion on how you're framing your answers?
That's where RoleCatcher's AI feedback feature is so valuable.
Oh, yeah?
You can practice your answers, and the AI will analyze your tone, pacing, and even suggest ways to phrase things to sound more confident and professional.
So it's like having an interview coach right there with you.
Precisely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another important topic in the financial industry. Compliance.
Yes.
The interview guide reminds us that finance is heavily regulated, and interviewers want to make sure you understand the importance of ethical conduct.
Absolutely. They're looking for someone who not only knows the rules, but also embodies the values of integrity and responsibility.
So how do you convince them that you're that person?
Right.
The interview guide mentions a question about compliance experience.
Yes.
What if you're just starting out and haven't worked directly with those regulations.
Don't worry, you can still demonstrate your understanding and commitment to compliance even without direct experience.
Okay.
Start by acknowledging the importance of compliance in the financial industry.
Okay.
You can mention specific regulations you're familiar with, even if you haven't applied them directly.
So it's about showing them you're eager to learn and that you take compliance seriously, even if you're still developing your expertise.
Exactly. And don't forget to connect compliance to your personal values.
Okay.
Do you believe in doing things the right way even when no one is watching? Do you value honesty and integrity? Let them see that compliance isn't just a set of rules for you, it's a reflection of your character.
Now imagine the interviewer asks, can you give me an example of a time when you had to adhere to a rule or policy, even when it was inconvenient or challenging?
This is where you can showcase your commitment to ethical conduct.
Okay.
Even in tough situations. Perhaps you had to decline a client's request because it violated company policy.
Right.
Or maybe you had to report a colleague's unethical behavior.
So these examples demonstrate that you prioritize integrity and compliance over personal gain or convenience.
Precisely. And by highlighting the positive outcome, perhaps you protected the company's reputation or prevented a potential legal issue. You're showing that your commitment to compliance is not just about following rules, but about making sound decisions that benefit everyone.
Now let's shift gears and talk about a question that often catches people off guard. What are your greatest strengths as an investment clerk?
This is a fantastic opportunity to really highlight those skills and qualities that make you a perfect fit for the role. But instead of just listing like generic strengths, connect them to the specific requirements of the job.
So if the job description emphasizes attention to detail and accuracy, you might highlight your meticulous nature.
Yes.
And your ability to spot errors.
Exactly. You could say something like, one of my greatest strengths is my meticulous attention to detail. In my previous role, I was responsible for reviewing complex financial documents.
Right.
And I pride myself on catching even the smallest discrepancies, ensuring accuracy and compliance.
Okay, that's much more compelling than just saying, I'm detail-oriented. What other strengths might be relevant for an investment clerk role?
Think about the key skills we've discussed throughout this whole deep dive. Communication, problem solving, teamwork, adaptability, a strong work ethic.
Okay.
Choose the strengths that best align with your personality and experience, and be prepared to back them up with specific examples.
Okay.
You know.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
It can analyze the job description and suggest specific strengths to highlight based on the keywords and skills they're looking for.
Exactly. It can also help you frame your answers in a way that resonates with the company's values and culture.
Now, what if the interviewer follows up with, can you give me an example of a time when you used one of your strengths to achieve a positive outcome at work?
This is where you can really bring your strengths to life.
Okay.
Choose a specific example that demonstrates how your strengths translate into tangible results.
Okay.
Maybe you use your communication skills to resolve a conflict with a client, or maybe you use your problem-solving skills to streamline a process and improve efficiency.
Okay, that's much more impactful than just listing your strengths.
Right.
You're showing them how your strengths translate into real-world success.
Exactly. And by highlighting the positive impact of your actions, you're demonstrating that you're not just someone who possesses certain skills, you're someone who can use those skills to make a positive contribution to the company.
Okay, now let's talk about a question that often makes people uncomfortable. What are your weaknesses?
Ugh, the dreaded weakness question.
Right.
This one can feel like a trap, but remember, interviewers aren't trying to trick you.
Okay.
They're trying to gauge your self-awareness and your willingness to acknowledge areas where you can improve.
Okay, so how do you approach this question in a way that's both honest and strategic?
First, choose a weakness that is not essential for the investment clerk role.
Okay.
Avoid mentioning weaknesses that could be red flags for the position, like a lack of attention to detail or poor communication skills.
Okay, that makes sense. So what kind of weakness is acceptable to share?
Think about areas where you're actively working to improve.
Okay.
Maybe you're a bit too perfectionistic,
Right.
which can sometimes slow you down.
Okay.
Or maybe you tend to take on too much responsibility, which can lead to burnout.
So it's not about pretending you're perfect.
Right.
It's about showing that you're self-aware.
Exactly.
And committed to continuous improvement.
Exactly. And when discussing your weakness, focus on the steps you're taking to address it. Maybe you're taking a time management course to overcome your tendency to overcommit. Or maybe you're practicing delegating tasks to avoid getting bogged down in details.
I love that you're not just admitting a weakness.
Right.
You're showcasing your proactive approach to personal and professional development.
Precisely. And by framing your weakness in a positive light, you're demonstrating that you're a growth-minded individual who's always striving to learn and improve.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with, can you give me an example of a time when your weakness impacted your work and how you handled the situation?
This is your chance to show how you've learned from your mistakes and develop strategies for mitigating your weakness.
Okay.
Perhaps your perfectionism led to missed deadlines in the past, and you've since implemented better time management techniques. Or maybe your tendency to overcommit resulted in burnout, and you've learned to set boundaries and prioritize your well-being.
So you're not just talking about your weakness in the abstract. You're showing how you've dealt with it in real-world situations.
Exactly, and by highlighting the positive outcomes of your efforts, you're demonstrating that you're a responsible and resilient individual who's capable of learning from your mistakes and turning weaknesses into strengths.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about a question that's all about showcasing your long-term goals and aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, this question is an opportunity to demonstrate your ambition, your career goals, and how this role fits into your long-term vision.
Okay, so how do you answer this question in a way that's both ambitious and realistic?
First, it's important to be genuine and authentic.
All right.
Don't try to fabricate some grand 5-year plan if you haven't really thought that far ahead.
Right.
Instead, focus on your general career aspirations and how this role aligns with those goals.
So it's okay to be honest and say that you're still exploring different paths and figuring things out.
Absolutely. Employers appreciate honesty and self-awareness. You could say something like, while I'm still exploring different areas within the financial industry, I'm excited about the opportunity to develop my skills in investment management and to gain valuable experience in a fast-paced and dynamic environment.
Okay, that sounds much more authentic than trying to force a specific 5-year plan.
Right.
But what if the interviewer presses for more details about your long-term goals?
Then you can elaborate on your interests and aspirations within the field.
Okay.
Perhaps you're interested in specializing in a particular asset class or pursuing a professional certification. You could say something like, I'm particularly interested in learning more about ESG investing and how I can use my skills to make a positive impact on the world.
Right.
I'm also considering pursuing the CFA designation to further my knowledge and expertise in investment management.
Okay, that's much more specific and actionable.
Right.
You're showing them that you're not just thinking about getting a job, you're thinking about building a career in finance.
Exactly. And by aligning your goals with the company's values and mission, you're demonstrating that you're a long-term investment.
Right.
Who's committed to contributing to their success.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with, how do you plan to achieve those goals?
This is your chance to demonstrate your proactive approach to career development.
Okay.
Highlight specific steps you're taking to gain knowledge, develop skills, and build your professional network.
Okay.
Maybe you're taking online courses, attending industry events, or seeking out mentors in the field.
So you're showing them that you're not just dreaming about the future, you're taking concrete steps to make it a reality.
Exactly. And by showcasing your commitment to continuous learning and professional growth, you're demonstrating that you're a valuable asset who's always striving to improve and contribute more to the company.
Okay, let's talk about a question that often tricks people up. What are your salary expectations?
The salary question.
Yeah.
It can feel like a delicate dance, right?
Right.
You want to be honest about your worth without pricing yourself out of the running.
Yeah, so how do you strike that balance?
Research is key.
Okay.
Before the interview, use websites like Glassdoor or Salary.com to get a sense of the typical salary range for investment clerks in your area.
So it's not about picking a random number.
Right.
It's about understanding the market value for this role.
Exactly. And when you answer, it's often best to provide a range rather than a specific number.
Okay.
You could say something like, based on my research and experience, I'm targeting a salary range of $6 to $.
That shows flexibility and a willingness to negotiate.
Right. And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful.
Oh, yeah.
It can analyze salary data and suggest a competitive range based on your qualifications and the specific job you're applying for.
It's like having a personal salary negotiator in your pocket.
Exactly.
Now imagine the interviewer says, tell me about a time you made a mistake at work. How did you handle it?
Ooh, okay.
This one can be tough.
Yeah.
No one likes to admit their mistakes, especially in a job interview.
It's true, but remember, everyone makes mistakes. What the interviewer is really looking for is your self-awareness,
Okay.
your accountability, and your ability to learn from your experiences.
So how do you choose the right example? Should you go for a minor slip-up or a major blunder?
Hmm. The key is to choose a mistake that's significant enough to demonstrate your learning and growth,
Okay.
but not so catastrophic that it raises red flags about your competence.
Right.
Avoid mentioning mistakes that are directly relevant to the core responsibilities of an investment clerk,
Right.
like, mishandling client funds
Right.
or violating compliance regulations.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know,
So it could be something like a miscalculation in a report
yeah,
or a miscommunication with a colleague that led to a delay.
exactly. The key is to focus on how you handled the situation,
Okay.
not just the mistake itself.
Okay.
Walk the interviewer through the steps you took to acknowledge the mistake, correct the error, and learn from the experience.
So you're not just admitting a mistake. You're showcasing your problem-solving skills, your accountability, and your commitment to continuous improvement.
Precisely. And by framing your response in a positive light, you're showing that you're a responsible and resilient individual who's capable of learning from your mistakes and growing from your experiences.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with, what did you learn from that mistake, and how has it influenced your approach to your work?
This is your chance to demonstrate your self-awareness and your commitment to continuous improvement.
Okay.
Did you identify any specific areas where you could have done better? Did you develop any new strategies or techniques to prevent similar mistakes in the future?
So you're not just saying you learned a lesson, you're showing them how you've actually implemented those lessons into your work habit.
Exactly. You're demonstrating that you're a growth-minded individual who's constantly striving to improve and learn from your experiences.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a question that's all about showcasing your ability to work independently. Can you describe a time when you had to take initiative and work independently to complete a task or project?
Ooh, great question.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity to demonstrate your self-motivation, your ability to manage your own time and workload effectively, and your willingness to go above and beyond what's expected.
Okay, so how do you choose the right example to showcase your ability to work independently?
Look for a situation where you had to take ownership of a task or project. Set your own goals and deadlines, and work autonomously to achieve a successful outcome.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a major project or a complex initiative.
Okay.
Even a small task can demonstrate your ability to work independently if you approach it with the right mindset and strategies.
So it could be something as simple as taking the lead on researching a new investment strategy.
Right.
Or developing a new spreadsheet template to improve efficiency.
Exactly. The key is to highlight your proactive nature, your ability to manage your time effectively,
Yeah.
and your willingness to take ownership of your work.
Okay.
Describe the situation, the steps you took to complete the task, and the positive outcome you achieved.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
It can analyze the job description and suggest specific examples from your experience that would resonate with the interviewer.
Absolutely. And it can also provide feedback on your delivery, helping you project confidence and enthusiasm, which are crucial when showcasing your ability to work independently.
Absolutely. Okay, what if the interviewer follows up with, what were some of the challenges you faced working independently on that project, and how did you overcome them?
Now they're digging into how you handle those challenges,
Yeah.
and how you stay motivated when you're working solo.
Right.
Did you have to deal with any technical difficulties? Did you face any roadblocks or setbacks along the way?
So you're demonstrating that you're not just independent, you're also resilient and resourceful.
Exactly. And by highlighting the positive aspects of working independently, like the satisfaction of completing a challenging project on your own, or the opportunity to develop new skills and knowledge,
Right.
you're showing that you're a self-starter who thrives in an environment that encourages autonomy and initiative.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a question that's all about showcasing your teamwork skills. Can you describe a time when you worked effectively as part of a team to achieve a common goal?
Classic question. Employers always want team players.
Yes.
And this question gives you a chance to demonstrate your ability to collaborate effectively, communicate clearly, and contribute to a shared success.
Okay, so how do you choose the right example to showcase your teamwork skills?
Look for a situation where you worked as part of a team to achieve a specific goal or objective.
Okay.
It could be a project at work, a volunteer activity, even a group assignment in school.
Okay.
The key is to highlight your specific contributions to the team's success and how you worked effectively with your teammates to achieve a shared outcome.
So you're not just describing the project itself.
Right.
You're highlighting your role within the team
Yeah.
and how you contributed to the overall success.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to share specific examples
Okay.
of how you collaborated with your teammates, how you communicated effectively, and how you resolved conflicts or disagreements.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know.
You're showing them that you're not just a team member, but you're an active and engaged contributor who can work effectively with others to achieve shared goals.
Precisely. And don't forget to mention the positive outcome of the team's effort.
Right.
Did you meet your goals?
Mm-hmm.
Did you exceed expectations?
Yeah.
Did you receive positive feedback from your clients or stakeholders?
I love that.
Yeah.
You're showing them that you're not just a team player, but you're a valuable asset who can help a team achieve success.
Excellent.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with, what was your biggest contribution to that team's success? And what did you learn from that experience?
This is your chance to highlight your unique skills and strength and to demonstrate that you're a reflective learner who's always striving to improve.
Okay.
Did you bring any specialized knowledge or expertise to the team? Did you play a key role in facilitating communication or resolving conflicts?
So you're not just describing what you did, you're explaining why your contributions were valuable.
Exactly.
And how you helped the team achieve its goals.
Yes, and by sharing what you learned from the experience, you're showing that you're not just focused on the task at hand, but you're also thinking about how you can grow and develop your skills as a team player.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about a question that's all about showcasing your adaptability and flexibility. Can you describe a time when you had to adapt to a change in plans or priorities at work?
This question is all about demonstrating your ability to handle change, adjust your approach, and stay productive even when things don't go according to plan.
So how do you choose the right example to showcase your adaptability and flexibility?
Think of a situation where you had to deal with a sudden change in plans, a shift in priorities, or an unexpected challenge.
Okay.
It could be anything from a last-minute project deadline to a major organizational change.
Right.
The key is to highlight your ability to, embrace change, adjust your approach, and stay focused on achieving the desired outcome.
So you're not just describing the situation itself, you're highlighting your ability to roll with the punches and stay productive even when things get chaotic.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to share specific examples of how you adapted your approach, how you communicated with your team or stakeholders, and how you stayed positive and motivated throughout the process.
Okay, that makes sense. You're showing them that you're not just adaptable, but you're also resilient and resourceful in the face of change.
Precisely. And don't forget to mention the positive outcome of your efforts. Were you able to successfully adapt to the change? Did you exceed expectations despite the challenges? Did you receive positive feedback from your clients or colleagues?
I love that you're showing them that you're not just someone who can handle change. You're someone who can thrive in a dynamic and ever-changing environment.
Exactly.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with, what was the most challenging aspect of adapting to that change? And how did you overcome it?
This is your chance to highlight your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
And your ability to stay focused and productive even when faced with obstacles.
Right.
Did you have to learn new skills or processes quickly? Did you have to manage conflicting priorities or deadlines?
So you're demonstrating that you're not just adaptable, you're also resourceful and determined in finding solutions to unexpected challenges.
Exactly. And by highlighting the positive aspects of adapting to change, such as the opportunity to learn new skills or the satisfaction of overcoming a difficult challenge, you're showing that you're a growth-minded individual who embraces new experiences and thrives in a dynamic environment.
Okay, let's wrap up this section of the deep dive with a reminder about the power of RoleCatcher's AI.
Absolutely. Throughout this whole episode,
Yeah.
we've talked about how RoleCatcher's AI can analyze job descriptions,
Right.
suggest relevant examples from your experience, and even help you refine your delivery. It's like having a personal interview coach right in your pocket.
And the best part is that a lot of these features are available for free.
They are.
So why not give RoleCatcher a try and see how it can help you prepare for your investment clerk interview.
Exactly.
We'll be back soon with even more tips and strategies to help you ace that interview and land your dream job.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are wrapping up our crash course on acing that investment clerk interview. We've covered a lot of ground, from tackling those tough behavioral questions to really showcasing your skills and experience.
Absolutely. And of course, we've talked about how RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer.
Yes.
Helping you tailor those answers and refine your delivery for maximum impact.
But even with all the prep in the world, there's one question that always seems to throw people off.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
It's so easy to get caught up in answering their questions
Right.
that you forget it's a two-way street.
Right.
This last question isn't just a formality. It's your chance to show them you're genuinely interested in the company, the role, and the team.
So it's not the time to mentally check out and say, nope, I think you covered everything.
Exactly. Come prepared with a few thoughtful questions that show you've done your homework.
Right.
And that you're thinking beyond just getting the job.
Okay, so what are some good examples of questions that'll really impress those interviewers?
Instead of asking about, like, basic info that you can just Google,
Right.
dig a little deeper,
Okay.
you could ask about the company's growth plans, their biggest challenges, or their vision for the future.
Right, so you're thinking big picture here.
Exactly. You could even ask about the interviewer's own experience at the company.
Oh.
What they enjoy the most about working there.
Yeah, that's a good way to build rapport, too.
Absolutely. It shows you're engaged, you're curious, that you're thinking about how you can contribute to their success, how this role fits into your own career goals.
That's a powerful message to leave them with.
It is.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you come up with those questions, too.
Oh, for sure.
It can analyze the company's profile and suggest insightful questions tailored to that specific job you're interviewing for.
It's like having a personalized cheat sheet for asking smart, engaging questions.
All right, so as you prepare for your investment clerk interview, remember, it's not just about answering questions. It's about telling your story, showcasing your value, and making a lasting impression.
And with the right preparation, a positive mindset, and the power of RoleCatcher's AI tools, you can ace that interview and start a successful career in the exciting world of finance.
That's it for our deep dive into investment clerk interview prep.
That's right.
We hope you found these tips and insights helpful. Good luck with your interview, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Deep Dive.